Hello, Void friends and Void folk. Welcome back. As I said, this is video 2 of my multi-video recording session where I am just changing hats and staying in the same clothes because there's no point in pretending that I'm doing this on different days because I'm not. So I told you 4 videos. This is going to be video number 2. And today we are talking about design. Now I think I want to get into the editing, and that's going to be another video for probably the end. It's going to be a very long video. But I want to talk about design first. And particularly what I did for getting my book cover designer, as well as my interior design. Those two things are kind of hand in hand together. The interior design really couldn't get done until I was done with the editing process, but I'm still not really done with the editing process because I still have to finish proofreads. So for now, we are talking about cover and interior. Now, for people that are on this journey and people that are not, when you are designing a book, you have basically a couple of different design terminology here, right? You have an illustrator, someone that makes illustrations, drawings, maps, whatever. Map makers are actually, they do have a specific title, but illustrators make drawings. Cover artists make the art for the cover, and there is an actual specific method to making a cover, which I'll get into a little bit more in this video as I show you what my inspiration was. And then you have your cover designer, because having a cover artist doesn't necessarily mean it's a cover design, because what goes into a cover design is the art on the front, it's the spine, and it's the back. It is when you're making a hardcover and you have the dust jacket, it is the inner part of the dust jacket also that is also part of that cover design. I'm not doing a hardcover for this edition. I'm doing a paperback and an ebook. And I might be doing the audiobook myself because I really kind of do want to read the audiobook myself, and I've been thinking about it. And who knows, maybe between now and the beginning of April, I will have recorded the audiobook. Not on my phone, obviously. I do not have the wherewithal to use... Well, actually, I have the wherewithal to know that you should not use a phone to do a recording, but I have their actual speaker. So, and I've used this baby for audio dramas online before, and I also have my gaming headphones, which I've used for audio dramas online for recording before, and I am, if not anything, but a person that knows how to use Audition and Audacity. So, and since the book matters so much to me, I'm actually considering doing the audiobook for it myself. Is that the best idea? No. Am I a professional audiobook reader? No, but I kind of want to do it because it's really personal to me. But again, that's not what this video is about. This video is about design. And just like you need to have the proper equipment when you do an audiobook, you have to have the proper designers and the proper tools when you make a cover and when you make the interior. Now, for the cover, I went again with the artist David Leahy from Reedsy. I basically, for multiple months, went on to a bunch of different websites, which I will show you kind of right here. I went to a bunch of websites. I went and stalked a bunch of Instagrams, looking at different covers. I watched a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of videos in general about what it takes to make a good cover, right? And so we're going to kind of go over that right now. So I can go into the psychology of a book for probably a lot longer than I think that this video needs. And if you want that video, let me know. But a book, when everyone says that don't judge a book by its cover, you do. You do judge a book by its cover. You look at a book, and a good cover artist and a good cover designer knows exactly what your brain is going to think, or they're doing a market science based off of what your brain's going to think when you look at that cover. Different genres have different tropes is the best way to put it, right? So romance books have the trope of one partner and the other partner either looking at each other or not looking at each other, depending on the relationship there. You have paranormal romances are more likely to like showcase a little bit more abstract romance. You know what I mean? It's not like they're going to be their pictures of the faces, but it might be like lips or like teeth or like something like that. You're going to find, I mean, obviously everyone knows like The Crown in young adult novels, or the like high fantasy of like the people on an adventure going somewhere. Like, it's really funny because a lot of people make judgment calls or make a lot of jokes about these like specific tropes that happen on book covers, but they actually do make you think, okay, so that book looks like that. This is the vibe of what I'm going to go. You aren't going to be picking up a book that has a bunch of people on it traveling in some unknown direction and be like, this is going to be like the most like romance heavy book in the entire world. I'm not saying it's not going to have romance in it, but I am going to say you're not going into that thinking it's going to have like be a romance. You're not going into a book where you have two ice skaters on the front of it looking at each other so angrily and be like, oh yeah, this is an epic fantasy adventure. You don't do that. Not to say that, someone might not do it just because it's funny, but like, it's not what, if you saw that and you went into the book and you did not already know that it was a joke, you would be severely disappointed or angry because it wasn't what you were sold. So the cover actually really matters, right? And the design of the cover, depending on the simplicity or the style of it or the look of it, is going to kind of give your audience the vibe of what they're going into when they read it. So when I went with my book cover, I decided that I really wanted this book to kind of, I guess, emulate the Starless Sea. This is like the best way for me to put it. This is why comp novels matter so much, and I guess we can go into comp novels more when I actually set up the books, because that's actually going to be where it matters. But comp novels matter because you want to talk about which books you want to be on the shelf with.
This is actually a really unflattering photo of me, but I went into a 4-minute tangent about comp novels, which is just getting cut out. I will do another video if you're interested about how to do comp novels, but that's not what this video is about.
And that was actually really funny because I don't think that the Starless Sea even came into my comp novels until recently. It was always different, totally different things. But everything that I have done since edits have basically come in from where I'm at has been to basically comp it to the Starless Sea. It's not anything like the Starless Sea. It's really not. But it's a neighbor. And so it is. So I did the design.
I'm actually going to jump in real quick and say that I also gave the designer these 3 book covers from as other options of inspiration, particularly in Academy for Liars was the number one thing I did because of the color, and I liked the way that these covers were very monochromatic, which is what I told him.
Based off of that concept, right? It is very simplistic. It is all black, which is kind of important for other reasons. The colors matter. There's 12 dragonflies on it because that's an important number in the book. I did it very thematically, very symbolically, very simplistically. I did not want it to be like some epic, cool, really thing. I wanted it to be very simple, very specific. And the options that I originally gave me a second, when I was explaining this to my designer, the book, I really wanted it to be a monochromatic. So 1 color, 2 colors, with shadows and dragonflies as the biggest thing. Tone of the novel is basically solar punk, so I really wanted it to kind of have some sort of like plant and technology combination, which is where the fonts kind of come into play, with a very curly font being very planty, and then the very serif font being very techy. I basically I gave him a synopsis, which honestly doesn't really matter much because he asked me like what kind of symbols are important. And I said, while like fan dance is pivotal to this book, like dance is pivotal, dragonflies are the most important symbol in the book. And I wanted to incorporate 12 dragonflies in some way. So I wanted to have like fluid, not really a defined like sense. I didn't want it to be a realistic dragonfly. I wanted it to be a depiction of a dragonfly, and starlight. I said starlight, dragonflies, shadows are really big. Some like ideas that I gave him as like concepts were a single dragonfly with its 6 wings, a dragonfly with its 4 wings split into 6. I was also thinking maybe 6 wings split into 12. I had the idea of I gave him like the Starlessia a little bit more of like that like framed box kind of thing. And he gave me back 3 different options. I will only show the one I actually finally picked right here. So I think I need to ask permission if I'm able to show the other 2. But basically just know that he did do the other 2. So more of a like framed narrative style as well as a actual like dragonfly sitting with its shadow, which frankly looked cool as all heck. Like both the other 2 covers looked so freaking good. Like I cannot begin to explain that when I got this notification of like the 3 covers that came in, my heart was racing. I was so scared. I was so afraid. I was like, what if I did? I'd done it. I made a really good decision. I spent so many hours staring at his portfolio being like, no, actually, I think that he can do what I want. He didn't actually have anything like what I wanted on it, but he had a style that I liked. And I think that that was more important because the style matters ultimately more when you're making these decisions because you're going for the artist style, not a specific look. You don't want to replicate something that they've already done. You want them to use their art style or their specific style of creating a design to make your design. So I was like, I have to trust it. I picked him because I liked his style and I liked how some of his other books looked just based off of what I saw from his portfolio. So, fingers crossed, right? And I opened up those files and I almost about started crying. I almost started crying. I was like, wow, these are exactly what I asked for. 1. 2, they looked fantastic. And when I saw my actual cover, I went, that's it. I saw this and I said to myself, that's it. Like, I saw the other 2 and the other 2 are fantastic. But this one, I saw it and I went, yeah, that's my book. That's my book. And it's really funny because I actually sent the image to my friends that have edited this book and seen it from its like baby stages basically, right? And they were like, that's it. That's your cover. And they're like, the other 2 are cool. They could be like special edition covers or like special like different versions. They look cool. But that one, this book cover is the cover for the novel that I wrote. Like, you will go into reading this novel looking at that cover and be like, yeah. And that is what matters the most when making a good design. Is that the cover needs to be like, you're like, yeah, this cover matches what's in the content of this book. And so I was really excited. It was really cool. We actually worked back and forth on the fonts and came up with what we ended up doing with preface being in a totally different font than everything else. And I love it. I really do. And then, the spine with the logo, which I could talk about in a hot second, and the back cover with the 2 dragonflies on the top and just everything. And it's so magical and it's so star-like and it's just everything I wanted. And that's basically, I went, oh, okay, cool. And then he asked me how many pages it was. And I said, I don't know. I have no idea. Which, in case you're wondering, in order to actually create the template for a hardcover or a paperback, you need to know the actual full thickness of a book by the page number in order to create the spine, because it gives you a template of how long the spine is, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, well, that means I need to do the interior of this book, which I had not done. So before we go into the interior, which is another very important part of the process, actually the most important part of the process, other than just like the writing, actually, if I had to be completely honest and frank with you, because like, would you read a book that looks bad on the inside? No. So we're going to talk about the logo. And the logo, the logo, and hopefully some of the interior art on the inside. So we're going to talk about the logo. The logo was designed by my friend Savannah Drews. She has been my friend since I was in the 7th grade and she was in the 6th grade. We met each other on the bus, and I was telling her about my book and about my company and all this other stuff, and she was like, I'm going to do it. And I was like, what? And she's like, I'm going to draw your logo. And I was like, what? I don't have the money to pay you. And she was like, no, I'm going to do it. And she did. And she drew it, and it looks so freaking phenomenal and looks so cool on the book itself. And she was like, and I basically, because I wanted an F for like a fox, and then like, because fox very fun. Anyway, and I was like, wow, this looks so good. And it's actually the first project that she's basically gotten done in a very long time, because she's always been an artist, right? But she's been an artist that she never really felt like she completed something. Like she would get almost there, where it was almost done, and then she'd be like, nope, I'm not doing it anymore, because she has a problem with completing things. And I pushed her, and I was like, are you going to do it? Or you're not? I'm going to go find someone. And then she did. And she was like, I was like, no, that's perfect. And then she sent it to me, and then I put it on the book, and I'm like, look. And then she was like, wow, that's the first project that I've completed, like that she actually counts as completing. And so this project is not just me now, right? It's now her. And so I kind of wanted to shout her out a little bit, because design, right? That's what this entire video is about. And I could go into why I wanted the F on the tail, and like the little legs, and like how the fox is supposed to like represent. But in general, I just had this design and this logo, and she basically used her nice brain and got exactly what I wanted pretty much the first time that she did it. But it's okay. She's a little bit of a perfectionist, and I love her for that.
So I'm talking over this because I do have to cut this video. It's about to get really long, and I think it was like almost an hour of me recording. So I'm just going to split it into 2 videos. So the second video will be posted also today, and that will go directly into interior design. So yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. This has been Marlena Marie.